This is The Vent Box on Campus Gal Radio.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Ventbox. Everyone, buckle up because today's episode is going to be a little interesting. We are going to dig into something that we all deal with but rarely talk about, generational differences. I'm your host Sirbi, and today I've got two amazing guests with me. But before I introduce you to them, let me walk you through what we're going to be talking about today. We are going to unravel the quirks, struggles, and surprises of growing up in totally different worlds. We all know the drill. Boomers get called out of touch, Gen Zs get labeled too sensitive, and millennials are just out there trying to navigate everything in between. They just don't know where to go. But beyond the memes and stereotypes, there's a lot more going on. Whether it's how we view our careers, relationships, or just like figuring out what success even means, each generation has faced its own challenges. So, if you ever felt caught between old school expectations and new age chaos, or you're just curious about why generational clashes are so real, then this one's for you. So, like I said, today's topic is going to be very interesting. We are talking about generational differences, right? But I thought it would be better if we could just get a mother and a daughter into the scene. So today we have Sonia Goklani and Ria Goklani.
Hi.
Okay, Sonia and Ria, would you like to give a brief introduction about yourself?
Hi, I'm Sonia and I work for a company called Radiowala. We do curated radio for stores. And I started working pretty late in my life, but I love it, enjoying every minute of it.
Okay, and Ria?
So my name's Ria. I work for a company called Simply Work. Mm-hmm. We do managed office spaces for clients and I handle the leasing to Bangalore.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. So
working right out of college.
Okay. Really, even I did actually. Actually, I was working throughout college. I did an online college and I was working throughout college. I hated college life.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So when I graduated from college, I already had 3 years full-time working experience. Yeah. So when I approached you to ask your daughter to do this show, what was her reaction and what were you thinking? What would happen?
Nothing. I knew that it would be a good, good thing because it's like you're taking two opinions from the same house.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's no scope to just simply faff and say,
yeah, I know.
Give faffy answers.
I know. You can call each other out if you're like. And Ria, what was your reaction when she approached you and said, we want to do a radio show about a mother and daughter duo?
I mean, it's always good to get both sides of the story because a lot of misconceptions usually in our generation about how things are done in the other generations, and it's always good to hear their opinions as well. Mm-hmm. So I think this is a great idea, honestly.
Okay, I have a few questions for both of you. Let's get started.
Sure.
Okay, starting off with Ria. What's something your mom doesn't understand about your generation, no matter how much you explain?
It's probably our opinions. So basically, we go talk. We're a very outspoken generation, I feel.
Mm-hmm.
So if I just tell her oh mom, what the hell, if I try to even back answer her, she'll be like, oh, how can you back answer me? Mm-hmm. I'm like, Mom, I'm not back answering you. I'm just trying to, have a conversation to understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
But, she won't let me have a conversation with her. She'll just be like, oh, no, what I'm saying is right and I'm just not going to listen to what you have to say.
That's true. I mean, I experienced this as well. Like, when you're talking or even just trying to express yourself and it turns into an argument, they're like, tell me now. And then when you actually tell them, they're like, why are you back answering? I know, I get you. I wish my mom was here so maybe you guys could team up and we could be on the same team. Okay, so what?
Yeah.
And now coming to you, about our generation. Do you have a general opinion about us? Also because you have a daughter. So
yeah.
Our generation.
Yeah, so I feel everything is too self-centered. Maybe whether it's about any opinion, suppose we give it about saving, example, you all don't save enough money. So, why should I? Like, I am earning and I need to spend it on myself. Like, why do I need to save? Or, maybe it's a simple thing like that. But I just cannot get it across.
Okay.
To you like, or any other opinion, like, you'll always have something to say. There's always something to say. It can never be like, yeah, okay, you're right. Like, I'll just go with you.
But isn't that a good thing? Always having an opinion is a good thing.
It is sometimes, but the only reason why we give you that opinion is because we have tried and tested it and fallen. And we are just trying to put the cushion. And, the cushion is being pushed away. And then I realized that maybe let the child fall and learn. They don't want that cushion. They want to experience things themselves firsthand. Okay. That's the thing I understood about that.
Okay. So basically, well, one of the main points you said was like saving up. Do you think our generation is just bad at saving up?
Yes.
We're bad with money.
I think so. Because I guess also because there are too many distractions.
Okay.
When we were growing up, there was no phone. Now, if you have to go and buy iPhone, you know what it costs.
Yeah.
So I guess, you're unable to save because of the circumstances, I understand. But y'all can prioritize and maybe, say, this is more important than this.
Okay.
Or maybe like eating out every day is not necessary. Maybe I could get food thrice a week from home and eat only twice from out. Things like that. I'm not saying totally stop what y'all are doing. But, somewhere a little bit of balance could bring y'all a little more saving.
Okay, I agree. To some level, I agree because I am very bad with money. But also, I've seen a lot of interviews. I don't know, Ria, if you've seen this. So I've seen a lot of interviews that generally when you're talking to older people, they regret not doing much with their money. They just end up saving up so much and they can't do anything. You're old now. So what do you think, Ria? What do you think about this?
I mean, yeah, that's true. Like, I always say, like, why are you going to like die with your money?
Yeah.
You're not going to die with your money. So you might as well enjoy your life while you're here because you're not here for a long time. You're here for good.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. I hope you don't feel that way, like ganging up
not
on
at
you.
all. Not at all. Because it's not about that. It's just about what I feel is I'm confident when I have that money which I've saved up. I'm confident that no matter what, I have a buffer to fall back upon. That's my confidence, That gives me confidence. So I'm happy about it. And if that confidence is giving you all happiness that you live only once, then fine.
Yeah. So
to each his own.
Yeah. To each their own. Okay.
Yeah.
So great. And one more question. What's the most rebellious thing you did back then when you were probably our age?
I think I went out for a night party.
That was the most rebellious thing you did?
We were never allowed. So, or talking to a boy, that also we were never allowed. So those were the most rebellious things I did.
And how have you, like, you see a change, right? How have you made it different for your daughter from your time?
See, I realized that it's a natural thing to want to talk to boys or, as the times were changing, we ourselves started going out for girls' night out or at night, so which was an unheard thing of when we were kids. So, everything started changing. So I said, I felt that my parents should have understood because it's a biological and natural thing. You want to talk to boys when you become 14, 15 years old. So I said I should do that. And I sort of made that kind of thing at my place where she could bring her friends, whether they are a boy or girl, and have normal conversations.
And Ria, what's the most rebellious thing you did that your mom doesn't know about?
So, very honestly, my mom has been a very chill mom ever since, I can remember. So, I didn't really have the need to do anything rebellious per se. Like, even if I did it, I would tell her the next day.
Okay.
She's more like my friend than like my parent.
Oh, that's cute. That's very cute.
So, I didn't really have the need to be a rebel, but there was this one time that so I was actually just scared to tell her that I'm going out in the night. Like, this was like really late. The night was probably like 1 a.m. It was one of those night out situations that we were going on a drive without she knew I was going that late in the night. But when I spoke to her about it the next day, she was...
Oh, okay. So you didn't get yelled at?
No, I didn't.
Oh, great.
She was just like, oh, how was it? Did you have fun?
That's very cute. That's very cute, actually. So, what is a piece of advice that you got from your mom growing up or even now that stuck with you?
Never be afraid to tell me anything because I'm going to be here for you no matter what.
That's very
So that's
sweet.
something that's stuck with me throughout because I feel like it's so important to have your parents' support because at the end of the day, they're the ones that's going to be there for you through thick and thin.
Yeah, that's true. I think later on in life, I also realized, growing up, I was very rebellious. I would fight a lot. But I realized in the end, parents will be there for you no matter what. I think with time, most kids do realize
Yes,
that.
that's right. It's just that I feel it's that adolescent age which
Yeah.
is very volatile and that's where many rifts take place. But once you cross that and become 20s, then 25, 26 become more smooth sailing,
This reminds me, this one time I was just sitting at home and having lunch, and my mom she was doing her work. She was just working in the kitchen. And she just looks at me. She's like, once I die, I wish I come back as a ghost so I can still take care of you.
How sweet is
She's like, I can still look after you guys, keep an eye on you guys.
That's so
And I
sweet.
thought that was so cute.
Actually,
I think
very sweet,
that is
yeah.
something I will remember always.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just thought I'd mention because it was a cute thing that happened. But what is the advice that you got from your mother that that you remember or you passed it on to Ria, something like that?
Yeah. So, see, my mother always told me to be self-sufficient. Like I should know how to cook, I should know how to clean, I should know how to sew, I should be able to go out to do my work. So that's that I detested it just like anybody would to learning how to cook or clean or to sew or whatever. But today when I look back, it's made me a complete person. I'm not dependent on anybody for anything.
Yeah.
See, we were not allowed to be economically independent, because it was just finish your college and get married. We were not allowed. But, as time went by, we found our own thing. Times changed. We were allowed to go out to work and found our economic independence as well. But, so then that was already well-rounded, the domestic part. So it all came together very beautifully, becoming a whole person who could manage on their own and doesn't need anybody to help for anything, basically.
Yeah. True.
So I feel confident about that.
Okay. I agree. I think cooking and cleaning is just a basic skill everybody should know.
Yes.
I think everyone should know how to cook and clean for themselves, even if they don't have to apply it anywhere.
Yes.
It's better to just learn it. Okay. So, Ria, I have a question for you. If you could trade places with your mom for a day, what's the first thing you would do?
I will probably spend my money. Because I keep telling her, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Please just spend your money. At least a little bit. Do something for yourself.
I'm a hoarder.
Yeah? I can never.
You're a hoarder.
I can never. I could
I'm
never.
a
I think
hoarder.
my mom and dad are the same, but I cannot. I just need to keep buying things. But what would you do if you were Ria for a day?
I would sign up. I would buy a house so that she has to pay the EMI for
Rest of her life.
Not rest of her life, for at least 20 more years so that money gets
So you would go and
saved.
So you would go and buy a house.
In her name, yeah.
Yeah.
So that, and put the EMI on her name.
Yeah.
That she has to pay, that amount every month goes towards the house. Saved, it's in the house.
Do something nice for yourself and you just want to give me stress.
That's funny. And Ria, what's one thing that you know you're right about, but your mom will never admit it? That you are right.
That I am right sometimes.
That you're right in general?
If we're having an open dialogue or, if we're in an argument, there are some times that I say things that are often right, but she refuses to think they're right. And then later on she'll be like, you know what, maybe I should have listened to you.
Okay. Yeah. And how do you both handle disagreement?
We fight first, then we chew on what each other said.
Yeah?
And then we later go back and say, okay, I think we overreacted.
Yeah.
And I think, okay, this part, what you said is right, but I don't think that's right. And okay, we'll just take it forward this way. We come to a mutual agreement and move forward.
Okay, that's nice. Is that what happens? Yeah, I'm just checking in with you.
No. That's exactly what happened.
Okay, great. So this was, we are coming to the end of this, but I have a few rapid fire sort of questions for you guys, and you have to be honest about it, okay? Who do you think should pay for the first date? Ria?
Oh God, this is such a controversial question.
Yeah.
So I usually feel like the girl should offer to pay,
Okay.
but also have an open mind about splitting.
Okay, got it. Who do you think should pay on the first?
The boy,
The boy?
the man.
The man?
Yeah.
I think I would agree. Okay.
Nah.
Yeah, not really, but I think whoever asks you to go on the date should pay. That is something I would.
Yeah, but I feel like we should also have an open mind to splitting.
Yeah,
I don't feel like we should be answerable to anybody.
Also, if my mom is listening to this, I've never been on a date ever my whole life. I don't go on dates. Okay, who is a one timeless icon for you, Ria?
My timeless icon, I think it would be my grandmom.
Oh, cute. And why?
I don't know, she was always so strong and independent, and no matter what life threw at her, she always had a smile on her face. And I feel like that's so important, to be calm and collected, even at the worst times.
Okay. And who is your timeless icon?
My timeless icon would be Mother Teresa.
Oh.
Because of all the good work she did, and I always aspire to do some good along the way. So I think she would be my icon, so I can do little good. That's it.
And what's the one trend from your generation, just a trend that you wish to have a comeback?
Trend where the clothes are concerned?
Anything.
The clothes, yeah. I love the clothes from the time.
Actually, I love the clothes. I love bell bottoms and everything. And if you could, switch back to a generation and live in that time era, which one would you pick?
I think it would be the 60s, the time where my grandparents were, because I feel like it would just be interesting to see, how the challenges and values of that time shaped people's lives.
Okay.
So I feel like, that generation I would like to go back. And also it was a very slow life.
Yeah.
There wasn't much running about, just a chill life.
I've seen this. I've started noticing this. I've seen this, like people are starting to prefer a slow life. Like my end goal with life is also just moving to a farmhouse and just chilling. But my mom was actually shocked. She's like, I thought you would love the city life. But no, really, like our generation mostly, I've seen like we prefer the slower life. We're just doing all of this for work, I feel.
That's right.
Yeah. So anyways, thank you so much for giving your time. This was
Thank you so much. We had a great fun time answering these questions.
Yeah, thank you. And that's a wrap on today's episode of Ventbox. I want to give a huge thank you to Sonia and Ria for joining us today and sharing your stories. It's always fascinating to see how different generations within the same family can navigate life and how they clash, how they connect. To be honest, there wasn't much of a clash. Sonia and Ria are like the cutest people I've ever met. And basically just looking and watching them ultimately grow in life together. But as we end our episode today, I just want to remind you, whether it's learning from each other, laughing at each other's differences, or finding common grounds, today's conversation reminded us a lot that no matter what, family ties run deep. I hope this episode made you reflect on your own relationships and how maybe give you a new perspective on how to bridge those generational gaps. Thanks for tuning in. And again, if you have any thoughts, stories, questions, let us know. Hit us up on Instagram, DM us, comment down below, and don't forget to like, share and subscribe. We'll catch you next time on Ventbox. Until then, keep being you, keep venting, and take care of that beautiful brain of yours.